How much time? 30? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you. What?
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping. That is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when you choose, when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, talk about a great start. Davinia, you're back. Is everybody else back? Sorry about the buffering, you've not missed much, just the intro theme tune. And you'll hear it again as the outro theme tune. Because you're going to stick with us as we battle these technical issues on the Brews at 10. But for anybody who didn't hear it the first time around, I'm your host Lefty. Welcome to the stream. Please hit thumbs up, because it is going very well so far. Let's brew this thing, people. Davinia was also first in the chat. It's the 40th anniversary of the Challenger disaster, is it? Well, what a chirpy way to kick off the stream. It's also Holocaust Remembrance Day. Let's really keep it upbeat and chirpy. No, I didn't realise that, actually. Random facts. Thanks for that, Davinia. Got the shouty bloke as well. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. Sorry about those early buffering issues. The team are on it. They're on it as I speak. For now though, what's coming up? Obviously it's a Wet You Whistle Wednesday here on the Brews at 10. Deputy PMQs, Keith's on an Oriental trip, China and Japan, bit of a mini tour of the East. So Lammy's going to be stepping in. It's Lammy's lingo. But I did stick with Keith's catchphrases, just so nobody gets confused, you know. It's still Keith's. He probably scribbled down all of the answers in like 7 minutes before he got on the plane. Just quickly handed it to Lammy. There you go. See you when I get back. Do you want any duty free, David? Whatever. Looks like everybody's doing well though. Good to see you good people. Good to see you brewing well. Graham Turner's also joined us in the chat with the triple fist in the air, in solidarity with Palestine as always, on this channel. Viva Viva Palestina. And nice to see you as always, Graham. After PMQs, which will be the main bulk of the first part of the stream at least, we're going to move on to the Gorton and Denton by-election, the latest on that. Oh, it's hot, people. It's getting white hot. For any of our American viewers, this is often as exciting as British politics sometimes gets. You know, if you're where Gorton and Denton is, I'm sure you're all on the edges of your seats in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and elsewhere. Other cities are available. Well, we kicked off with another trivial fact. Here's one that'll absolutely stun you, people. There are more than 8 cities in the continental United States of America. Did you know that? Over 8 cities. No, seriously though, Gorton and Denton, it's a bit of a litmus test for, first of all, whether the Green Party can win the first seat in the city where this stream is coming to you from tonight. But also, if reform can be kept at bay, if the hype about reform is overstated, etc. We'll go into that after PMQs. A few polls, a few opinions, and then the latest episode in the unfortunate series, because there are so many incidents now that it's turned into a series on the channel. A Song of ICE and Fire. So the latest ice capades from Minneapolis and elsewhere. Plus a few random tangents. We'll see what subjects come up in PMQs. But this will be a first time watch. Just to remind you people, no spoilers in the chat. First time watch for me. It might be for other viewers as well. And on that topic, people, bringing it back around to Keith's catchphrases. Regular viewers will know that the game itself is in a league format now. We have 9 contenders, but we are waiting for a 10th. And that's going to be viewer's choice. Let the people decide. So we've come up with a couple of suggestions from viewers on recent streams, as well as a couple of our contributions as well. So please do vote. If anybody's not familiar with Keith's catchphrases, the little game, just before I explain the rules shortly, just imagine which phrase you would think would come up the most in Parliament when Keir Starmer's whining away, basically. It's not too complicated. I'm sure even Kemi Badenoch could understand it. One thing I've always found strange about occasions when it's the deputy's turn to fill in for the Prime Minister, the Shadow Deputy also gets up for rebuttal. He gets the 6 questions that Kemi Badenoch would normally get. But it's not as though Kemi's gone along with Starmer, as far as I understand. She's not on any kind of shadow trip as Shadow Leader, Shadow PM, Leader of the Opposition is the official title. But does that mean that she gets to go off and just have a little jaunt of herself and pretend it's unofficial business? Do some publicity, do some photo stunts, photo ops. Photo stunts, that's more Ed Davies' area. We'll probably be hearing from Ed during PMQs. So at the moment, we've had a few votes already. Some support for Growth and Party. So the winner will be declared at the end of the stream. The polls stay open until the end. Also, please make sure that you've selected live chat instead of top chat. That way, don't miss out on anyone's excellent commentary. And if you're not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. You can join others in the chat as we go along. For now, though, we'd like to get into proceedings with a series of thank yous to all the wonderful people you can see on your screen, as well as all the people who've gifted memberships and renewed recently. to help us get towards the target of 250, currently on 158, which is amazing stuff. So thank you very much for your contributions, everybody. Wonderful supporters of the channel who you can see. You can join the list for just 99 pence as well. If you hit the join button, you can find out more about the perks. You can enjoy exclusive content. There are some members first videos throughout the week, static emojis, that kind of thing. There's also super chats if you're watching live. That's another way to support the channel. Super stickers as well if you prefer. If you're watching back later on, super thanks are also open, and there's a buy me a coffee page if you don't have the means to contribute via YouTube, which can sometimes be the case. I was going through some stats recently. I like to keep my left eye on the stats here at the channel, and we noticed that most of you, in terms of video content that is, are watching on mobile at the moment. It's a little more spread out evenly for live streams, for anybody who's curious. So just some updates and stats there. But yeah, that being the case with mobile phones, not everybody. First of all, it's comfortable, even though a lot of people do use transfers on the phones these days. However, the link is in the description for the Buy Me Coffee page. If you don't have the means to contribute via YouTube, that is the stall closed for the evening. That's my good pitch and my good thanks to all the people on the roster, the brew crew that you just saw there. Solidarity, people. For example, Divinia's on desktop. That's the latest information from viewers. There's another stat for you. Bit of a statathon so far. What else have we got? Just throw some random ones out there if you like. There are more atoms in a glass of water than there are glasses of water in all the seas and oceans on the planet. For example. Try and keep it political though, if you can. We had the Challenger disaster mentioned earlier as well. Okay. Not literally though, you are watching on desktop, of course, figuratively. You are on the desktop. Interesting way to watch. If you are, why not? I know some of you like to dance along to the earworm jingles that we have on the channel. Don't deny it, people. Why not do it on a desk? On the top of the desk? I'd like to throw that out as an open question slash challenge. Not sure whether it should be, where is the strangest place that you've watched a live stream? Or set it as a challenge. So you can record yourself watching a live stream, I don't know. While you're refereeing at Wimbledon. Whatever you do in your spare time, people. Make a note of that one, Phil, and we'll move on to the first comedy clip, I think, is up next. Yeah. Done with all the plugs and promotion. Let's go forth with the comedy, if you're all okay with that, that is.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Well, I hope you can dig this. He's a regular on the channel. Really good as well. Anybody watching stateside might be familiar with him. Also, goes by the name of Rothschilds. So I'll be sticking a link for this exact video and a link to the channel in the description at the end of the stream. Apologies, bit of a rush before the stream. Got quite a few clips and things to put together. But do go and check him out, Rothschilds. does a regular comedy feature and a great parody of J.D. Vance. There are a few semi-in-jokes in there. I guess I'll just quickly explain from this parody's perspective. This version of J.D. Vance is in fact an alien and represents an organisation known as the Galalthian Mining Corporation, whose sole intention is to extract all of the Earth's mantle, crust and core. It might sound a little far-fetched, but you'll see what I'm getting into as we see more from fantastic Rothschilds. That name again is Rothschilds. Okay, good.
Hello, I'm Vice President and 15,000 chicken nuggets stacked on top of each other in an unlabeled Pringles can, J.D. Vance. Vance the night away. Celebrate, peasants, for Usha Vance carries my seed. Again. That is right. My not white wife, who isn't white, is now pregnant with my... Children, get down here. 1, 2... Fourth child, presumably. 4 kids. That is... okay, good. I was very excited to find out I was having another spawn. Imagine my surprise when I found out it was coming from my wife and not Erica Kirk. Who knew a human woman, I mean regular woman, I mean just woman, stop adding extra words, could get pregnant from napping on my special downstairs couch? Not me. How long has the uterus worked here? Soon my brood shall encroach itself upon this world, emerging violently from Usha's lower middle stink crevice and delighting in man flesh and blood puddles, just like his old man. I tell ya, all this baby talk reminds me of when I was hatched, born, over 40 Earth years, years ago. Christy Noam and ICE have already asked if they could use my newborn to test out a new tear gas formula. What a wonderful way for my latest larva to serve America. Looks like I need to start stocking up on the typical Vance pregnancy cravings of crushed aluminum, salted cardboard, and inert gas pellets. As with all previous Vance younglings, the host, aka my not white wife, must consume a nutrient-dense prenatal vitamin every hour on the hour. It's custom made. Now, I have heard a rumor that this upcoming child was conceived to save our marriage. But that is ridiculous. Our marriage is okay good. After all, we're having another kid. What really gives me a similar sensation to what humans often call excitement is the thrill of constructing the nursery. The nursery will double as a central communications hub for all mining operations on the planet you know as Earth. The Galalthian Mining Consortium will condition my quadrine brood into a ruthless and efficient leader soaked in the blood of his dissidents. The youngest Vance will be a voice of inspiration to a lobotomized and heavily sedated populace as you liberate the precious minerals from the Earth's crust, mantle, and core. Okay, good! Was that your question? The question was, do you have an opinion on ICE agents kidnapping 5-year-old Liam Ramos in order to lure out his father and then arrest him? They were not kidnapping the child, simply detaining the child without his permission to use him as bait to lure out his father, who was allegedly an illegal alien. Totally different. But Ramos's father wasn't an illegal alien. His whole family was here seeking asylum. They followed the instructions presented in the CBP-1 app to the letter. There wasn't even an order of deportation for Ramos's father or anyone in the Ramos family for that matter. Deportations have to be ordered? That's news to me. Did they at least release the 5-year-old afterward? They did not. After all, you can't have child labor without child laborers. What? Well, that's it for now, News P.O.V. I must adjourn to my basement to set some new boundaries with a particularly naughty mid-century sofa. Wait, aren't you going to address the shooting of Alex Preston? Okay, goodbye!
J.D. Vance, that's my name, J.D. Vance, that's how you say it, J.D. Vance, cause my name is J.D. Vance. Yeah, J.D. Vance.
JD Vance portrayed by the very funny Ross Charles there, another great one from Ross. Solidarity from the UK, if you're watching Ross. We've actually got a triple billing of comedy this evening. That was the first of 3 comedy videos. I guess we'll play one during a bit of an interval. About halfway through. And then, of course, one at the end. So once again, there'll be a link for that in the description after the stream. Very quickly, before we go into Deputy PMQs and Keith's catchphrases, please do vote in the poll. Anybody who's watching live. Who would you like to see as the next contender? And I'll tell you what I'll do, just as an added incentive. Whoever wins this poll will actually be the next challenger as well. They're not just going to fill the 10th mystery space in the league. Let's see if they can hit the ground running with a win. Because we do have a current champion who's on a bit of a run at the moment, which we'll see very shortly. Wow. How's about that for a carrot on a stick? Yeah, do get interactive with us this evening as we get through PMQs. Maybe Keith himself watches it, I don't know.
Oh, God.
We've had a few votes so far. Keep them coming in, people. Without further ado, let's get cracking.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver.
Black hole plan for change.
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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We are back. Yeah, apologies. The intro video didn't want to play. Let's try again.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver.
Black hole plan for change.
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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ding, ding, ding. Second time lucky. Right, okay. Let's quickly talk you through the rules. Need to adjust that as well. What in the piss frig is going on with this thing? That'll do for now. Yeah, very quickly. With the rules, all of the phrases normally have to be spoken by Starmer. Obviously, it's David Lammy this week. Secondly of all, it's a winner stays on format. unless they've played all the other contenders, and then we'll mix it up a bit and see what happens. Thirdly, the tertiary rule. Slight variations are allowed, for example, past tenses, pluralisation, that kind of thing. Lastly, as far as scores in the league go, it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and bugger all for a loss. Nothing much exciting happening at the bottom, apart from, of course, there in 10th place is the mystery contender, who will be decided this evening in the poll, so do keep your votes coming in. And the winner will be up next week as the contender to this week's champion. There has been a change in the top. We now have a current new league leader. You can see the big guy there. Security. Played for, won for. With 20 mentions as well, so that's 12 points. Having now surpassed Postman Twat and Deliver, which is the phrase. 2 points behind now, even though old Postman Twat there has played one more game. And has more mentions, but there you go. Budget in 3rd place, Plan in 4th place, and in 5th is today's challenger. With Change, let's see if Change can work the way up the table. So only a win for Change would lead to them moving up a place into 4th. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what's happening. Everybody okay with the rules? Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. It's thoroughly complicated. But yeah, it's just one way of getting through the pantomime, the circus, the farce. And the repetitiveness that is Prime Minister's questions. Okay, let's get started. So I'm just making a couple of adjustments in YouTube Studio. I'm getting a warning about potential lag or buffering. Hopefully you should be able to get us in 720 now. But I digress. We'll go over to Lindsay Hoyle.
People there.
We don't come to questions to the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm Elise Bidgley.
Question number 1, please, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Lammy's Lingo.
Mr. Speaker, I've been asked
Let's
to reply
go.
on behalf of the Prime Minister who's visiting China and Japan. Mr. Speaker, yesterday was Holocaust Memorial Day, and for the first time a Holocaust survivor, Marla Tribich, addressed Cabinet. I found her testimony profoundly moving, especially having recently visited the Majdanek concentration camp in Poland. We owe it to every survivor and to the 6 million Jewish people murdered in the Holocaust to never forget. We will build a national Holocaust Memorial and Learning Centre next to this Parliament so that the voices of survivors are never forgotten and their courage inspires future generations.
I'll say very little about the obvious hypocrisy and double standards here. We know what we're talking about with Palestine, of course. And yeah, Lammy obviously paid up, Israel lobbyist, all the rest of it. Obviously 6 million Jews, a lot of other communities as well. But it's, yeah, pretty shameful double standards from Lammy, of course. We must always remember Holocaust victims, and shame on those who deny it ever actually happened. You know the kind I'm talking about, people, the far right. Yeah, that's a false narrative that's been going around for years in those circles, hasn't it?
Mr. Speaker, I know the thoughts of the whole House will also be with the family and loved ones of Captain Philip Gilbert Maldoni of the 4th Regiment Royal Artillery, who died on Sunday. We will never forget the courage, bravery and sacrifice made for our country by British servicemen and women. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to associate myself with the remarks of the Deputy Prime Minister on Holocaust Memorial Day and British servicemen. This week, the BBC and Good Morning Britain have reported of the national disgrace of out-of-control waste dumps, and for years, my constituents in Kirby have lived with one.
I did fleetingly see something about this just before I came on stream, and it turns out that an absolutely massive one is run by the King. Yeah, so there you go.
People struggle to breathe, they're sick, they have to live with their windows shut and schools sometimes shut down for days. I've been campaigning on it with our Labour councillors, but the response from the Environment Agency has been slow and ineffective. So will the government work with me to sort this nightmare and stop the Simmonswood stink?
Deputy Prime Minister.
I thank my honourable friend. The government will work with her. The situation she describes is unacceptable. People are right to be furious. The Environment Agency are taking action to prevent further
just very quickly, sorry, Mike. Forgot to explain about the BSL arm there. Don't worry, it's not somebody going crazy next to Rachel Reeves. You pop up, your chat is mostly covering it, but just that arm there.
Dumping,
you can see.
And we're giving them more powers and resources to crack down on fly tipping. I'll make sure that ministers keep her updated of their efforts. And speaking of garbage, Mr. Speaker, I note Reform's spring cleaning of the party opposite is continuing this week. The leader of the opposition says the Conservative Party is full of unwanted rubbish. The public worked that out long ago and got rid of them, Mr. Speaker.
Well, that landed really well, didn't it?
Secretary of State Andrew Griffiths.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I start by echoing the Deputy Prime Minister?
Yes. Who? Who the fuck? Griffiths? Who?
His comments about Holocaust Memorial Day. Yeah. We must never forget. May I also associate this side of the House with the condolences expressed by the Deputy Prime Minister to the family of Captain Philip Gilbert Maldoni. I also offer the condolences of the House to the family of Lord Flight, one of my predecessors in Arundel and South Downs. He served in Parliament with distinction for more than 2 decades. Mr. Speaker, after the Chancellor's U-turn yesterday, can the Deputy Prime Minister confirm that over 90% of retail, hospitality and leisure businesses will get nothing?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the Shadow Business Secretary to the dispatch box and join him? I remember Lord Flight well when I arrived in this House. It's always a pleasure to hear from the co-author of the mini-budget. And the man who said that Liz Truss's has the best plan to deliver for voters. Remember that? Of course, all of us want to see our pubs in good health and to support hospitality. That's why the Chancellor announced a...
You see, whenever they're desperate, they can always pull out the Liz Truss mini budget. It's their political grenade, if you like. I'm not obviously no fan of Liz Truss, but just pointing out how desperate they often get. No fan of the Tories either.
$4 billion package of support. But yesterday, in addition, business rates for pubs and music venues will be cut by 15% this year and frozen for the next 2 years, and will review the...
Yeah, because a lot of the cabinet can't even get served in their own locals now. People are that disgusted with them, that is publicans, landlords, landladies. So, perhaps that's the real reason for this sudden change of heart where they're concerned.
Methodology for valuing pubs in the future. I must say that contrasts with the party opposite, who of course saw 7,000 pubs closed under their watch.
Mr. Speaker, he wants to talk about experience.
No scores yet.
I spent 25 years building businesses, creating jobs. He spent 25 years manufacturing grievance. And if the party opposite knew anything about business, they would know this is too little too late. Our high street...
Looks as though Lammy was getting some live tips from Rachel Reeves there. Bit of advice.
They don't want to hear this.
Tell him he's bald.
Our high streets are bleeding out, and the Chancellor's handing out a box of sticking.
And that he's like, but I'm bald too. And then Reeves is like, oh shit. But what we're saying in the chat, Home Drew or Penfold? Home Drew. Who's that? Oh, Home Drew. Right, okay. Or Penfold. Is that from, God, what's that? Oh, God, Danger Mouse. Yeah, Danger Mouse, I think. Is that the one?
Blasters. They can't even U-turn properly. Mr. Deputy Speaker, a senior advisor...
Oh, crumbs.
Mr. Speaker.
He's lost the plots. He's off script.
Mr. Speaker,
You've said that about 4 times now.
A senior advisor to Andy Burnham said yesterday the Chancellor just wants a cheap headline. Meanwhile, our high streets are being decimated. He's right, isn't he?
Lovely Prime Minister.
I've got to say, Mr. Speaker, he talks about business. We know what his plan for business is. This is the man who opposed the minimum wage and said it was, quote, simply something that legislators pass to make themselves feel good. Well, let me tell him, raising the...
What decade is it, Lammy? Arguing over the minimum wage? Are you pulling that one out of the bag as well? It's not 1999, David.
Minimum wage doesn't make us feel good. It changes lives. And Labour's proud of how we're supporting small business.
It's crap. It's way below the level it should be. In real terms, when you take into account inflation, of course, rising costs, stagnant wages, the same old thing again. They'll always try and manoeuvre the goalposts, say that they're leading on wage increases, etc. But still, the very base, the very minimum of what people are entitled to. And of course, young people as well. There are people who do the same exact work as others. They're on a different grade of pay based purely on the fact that they're young. And then at 22, you get a slight increase. But it's just exploitation for cheap labour, really. because they're doing the same work. Ergo, if there really is value, then it really should have the same reward.
And on small business, creating hospitality zones to cut red tape, greater licensing freedoms, very important, and tackling late payments. All of that supporting business. That's a heart cry to what small business saw before.
Mr. Speaker, you don't make young people better off by putting them out of work. Mr. Speaker, his MPs are already banned from pubs. Where next? Shops?
Already said that.
Restaurants? Hair salons? That may not make a difference to him or I, but for many of them, they should back our plan to scrap business rates.
Yeah, good point in the chat there, Graham. The minimum wage should be at least £15 an hour. I think it should be higher than that. I've brought up a few times on the channel, harking back to the days when even Keir Starmer himself, under Jeremy Corbyn, of course, was calling for £15 an hour wage for fast food restaurant workers. So, that was some time ago. We're in our sixth year now of Starmer as Labour leader. Into the 6th year, that is. So, you take into account, again, inflation, etc., and £15 an hour still won't cut it. So, perhaps these days, 16, 17. Oh, sorry, I'm in a good mood. 17.50. 6.
But they haven't got the backbone to cut welfare to pay for it. And it's not just business rates, Mr. Speaker. Under them, the cost of hiring is up. So could he tell the House how much more does it cost to hire a 21-year-old under Labour?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I'm not trying to cast any dispersions or accusations or anything, but if Keir Starmer was actually stood there instead of Keir Lammy, that might be considered something of an appropriate question, where the rental of 21-year-olds is concerned. Continue.
He talks about young people. The party opposite left a shameful legacy. 1 in 8 young people not earning or learning when they left office. We're investing a record amount in apprenticeships, which they had on its knees. We're creating talented excellence technical colleges for our young people, and Alan Bilman is doing a review on young people who are currently out of work. By contrast, they would freeze the minimum wage, oppose giving young people an increase. They've got nothing to say for the next generation.
Mr. Speaker, you can feel the Deputy Prime Minister's frustration. The Prime Minister's away, the business sector is away, and here he is, left behind Lammy, the designated survivor, having to defend the indefensible. And it's very clear, he doesn't know the answer, Mr. Speaker. So let me tell him, the cost will be up £3,600 a year. Under Labour, businesses can't afford to hire. 1 in 6 young people can't find...
Is the video frozen? The video's frozen. Yeah, I know. It's a pain in the arse to venue. Sorry about the buffering again. I think we're back now. Just had to reset the video as well. This should be coming through better now.
They don't understand what it takes to be an employer. They don't understand business. They're strangling business with their red tape, and they're about to make things infinitely worse. So will he tell us his government's own estimate of the cost to business of the Unemployment Act?
But we're going from here anyway.
Minister.
I'm going to take no lectures from you on business.
Oh, what's with the change of tone there? I'll take no... You could fuck off, mates. You could fucking do one.
Things infinitely worse.
Did you notice he normally has this very clear, enunciated accent, of course.
So will he tell us his government's own estimate of the cost to business of the Unemployment Act?
Deputy Prime Minister.
I'm going to take no lectures from you on business. My father was run out of business under the Thatcher government. I know what it's like to grow up under a Tory government.
Just at the start of the sentence there.
And whilst we're talking about it, 26 Tory MPs and counting have already defected to reform, and now they're all counting down, Mr. Speaker, because today is 100 days until the Tory transfer window slams shut. It's going to be the longest and most disloyal transfer saga since Sol Campbell left Spurs. And the member for Clapton, I don't know where he is, has signed 3 white ringers.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the people in the House of Commons kept up with that element of the Tottenham Hotspur transfer window, David, just trying to sneak in the fact that he's a Tottenham fan as well.
In the past fortnight.
Andrew Griffiths.
Thank you. I don't know what's in his head, Mr. Speaker. It's our party that is getting stronger, and overnight, overnight, Mr. Speaker, we learned that the former Deputy Prime Minister has got 80 now.
Let me know how the stream's doing at the moment. How's the audio and everything? Keep me posted, people.
Names. On Sunday, we learned that the Health Secretary's allies claimed that he's got 200 names, and oddly, 50 of them want the Mayor of Greater Manchester, who's not even in this MP. Mr. Speaker, they're supposed to...
He's not even in this MP. Let's just say place.
...be running the country. And once again, small businesses across this country will see that he didn't answer the question. So I'll tell him, £1 billion a year. That is the burden to businesses of their bill. So there we have it, Mr. Speaker. They've no answers for small business. There's no relief coming. They don't care.
Do you count pubs as small businesses, not wanting to defend Labour or Starmer, but would you not consider pubs to be small businesses?
They care about high streets. They don't care about hotels, restaurants, farmers, or young people. Won't the Deputy Prime Minister admit what the members behind him are thinking? That it's not the Prime Minister going to China that's the problem, it's the fear that he might come back.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Oh, Christ, that was a very desperate grab for a soundbite there.
Pathetic.
Mr. Speaker, he's not going to get this gig again, is he? Let's face it. Mr. Speaker, I've set out our position very clearly. This was the week when the leader of the opposition told Desert Island Disc that Britain needs to learn to queue again. And Tory MPs have taken her quite literally. They're lining up outside the member for Clapton's office. while they squabble about the damage that they did to our country. Labour this week is capping ground rents, cutting the cost of living and rebuilding our public services. That's the difference a Labour government makes, and there's much more to come.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
It's a fantastic multi-site provision supporting over 200 of County Durham's vulnerable young people with social...
Second glass of Ribena for Davinia this evening, you absolute party animal. Well, living it large there. Davinia. Speaking of which, any votes for party in the poll? Yes. Currently on 20%. Keep your votes coming in, people.
Emotional and mental health difficulties. Their PAC site in Durham caters for 20 key stage 4 pupils, but SAN provision in Durham is at crisis point. With an extra school site and PAC extension, Elmore could offer more young people opportunities to thrive locally, saving thousands in costs for alternative provision and taxis. Will the Deputy Prime Minister arrange for the DFE Minister to visit the PAC site? And will they work with me to support the urgent need for additional school facilities and PAC accommodation so young people in Durham can access the education they deserve closer to home?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend. We're focused on fixing the SEN system so every child, wherever they live, has the support that they need to thrive. And we will continue our national conversation on reforms. We're also boosting investment into SEN. That includes 200 million to roll out more training for teachers and over 100 million for Durham County Council. I'm sure a minister would be happy to meet with my honourable friend and visit the site at the earliest opportunity.
Deputy Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Daisy Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my party, may I join with the Deputy Prime Minister in...
Ed Davey is on an archery course and then he's going on a hang gliding course.
marking Holocaust Memorial Day, we will not forget, and also honouring the service of Captain Philip Gilbert Muldowney, who died on Sunday. Mr. Speaker, whilst the Chinese regime still holds British citizen Jimmy Lai captive in prison, and whilst the Chinese regime continues to hunt down pro-democracy protesters on the streets of Britain with bounties on their heads, the British Prime Minister has gone cap in hand to China to ask for a trade deal on the promise of a super embassy from which the Chinese regime will continue.
They're our third biggest trading partner. This is one of the things, you know, we're always throwing these slurs around. In fact, even on the mainstream news, they've been trying to point out that people are taking pens and notepads into meetings lest they be hacked or whatever, unknowingly compromise things. But we are a major trading partner with them, and there's this double standards and this hypocrisy. You have the xenophobia on one side with the obvious those accusations I just mentioned, but then we do so much trade with them. A large part of your precious capitalist economy is down to trade with China, and well, some people can't make their minds up, but that fact seems to have escaped the deputy Lib Dem leader.
Continue to spy on us. The Chinese regime remains undeterred in its illegal actions against the UK and our citizens. So
I saw one once and it had a phone. It was a spy. God, what? Like, how ridiculous is this going to get? And I'm not, you know, saying that there aren't cyber attacks. It's not to say that we don't have spies ourselves. Obviously, we do. We have MI5. We have the likes of MI6, for example. Secret services here and there, and all this and that. We even celebrate it in cinema with British icon Agent 007, of course. If, let's say, a film about a Chinese spy came out Chinese cinema, which is becoming increasingly excellent as the decades go on, I do have to say. But let's say that and there probably are, there could be, everybody be pointing fingers and say, look, this is what they're actually like, without a hint of irony. We're talking about Britain here. We're talking about the former British Empire.
Can I ask the Deputy Prime Minister to name one single consequence that the Chinese regime will face if they do not stop their campaign of espionage and repression?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker.
Just on your way out, you might as well throw your phone in the bin if you don't want anything to do with that part of the world. Hypocrite. And even the British Sign Language guys getting in on this here, leaning in with this. What's this? This gesture. It's getting serious.
China
gone,
matters, and ignoring
that was a good grab.
would be a dereliction of duty.
Screen grab awards.
We will build a consistent, long-term and strategic approach grounded in reality. I set that out in the China audit statement I made a few months ago. And that is what our allies do. President Trump, Macron, Chancellor Merz, Prime Minister...
I beg your pardon, David. Yes, our main trade... I know I've just mentioned trading partners. But to call Trump an ally, I think is probably best avoided at this moment in time, all things considered, David.
Mr. Carney, all are visiting and engaging. We'll cooperate where we can, and I'm sure in areas like climate, she would expect us to cooperate, and we will challenge in areas where we disagree. That's...
Climate is probably my number one concern, apart from World War III potentially escalating, of course. We'll see which one happens first. What a time to be alive, people. But if they were doing something proper about it, they'd have my utmost support. But no, in fact, I have campaigned against them and continue to for their lack of efforts, like the Tory government before them.
That's the way that we deliver for the public of this country.
Daisy Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I note the Deputy Prime Minister could not name one single consequence if the Chinese do not stop their espionage and repression. Mr. Speaker.
Withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Prime Minister has responded as if the world has not changed. With Russia waging war in Europe, with the Chinese hunting protesters and pro-democracy protesters on our streets, and with President Trump undermining NATO and the rules-based order which keeps us safe, we have got to act with urgency to strengthen our alliances with trusted allies in Europe and the Commonwealth, and we have got to ramp up defence spending now. Can I ask the Deputy Prime Minister, will he consider as a first step the Liberal Democrat plan to issue defence bonds to raise £20 billion in the next 2
God, talk about having a hard-on for war. This defence bonds, really? Yeah, everybody. Look down the back of your sofas, see what you can. Why don't you invest in war? You could... Oh, my God. Seriously? Is this a serious suggestion? And this party, who call themselves liberal. But of course, let's not get confused with the American sense of liberal, which is on the left here in Britain. That is a slightly milder shade of Tory, but still on the right. Social Democrats, basically. War bonds, are you for real? They already want to put up defence spending to 5% of GDP eventually. Aiming at 3.5%, I think, is it in the next couple of years? And then going up higher and higher. Some people are even pointing fingers and putting pressure on Starmer to say that's not enough. And I believe one of those voices came from within the EU itself, actually. Poland as well, in terms of GDP, spending exponential amounts. But war bonds, no, It's bad enough that they're putting our taxes to it instead of trying to encourage people to invest in destruction instead of peace. Was the bond market for renewable energy? Was the bond market for investing in a livable future?
2 years in order that we can rebuild and rebuild our armed forces and give British savers the opportunity to invest in the defence of our nation.
The Prime Minister.
I've got to say, I've been here long enough to remember when Labour left office, 2.5% we were spending on defence, and when they were in government with them, they cut it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that the good work of this Labour government to get the NHS back on its feet, with waiting lists down, including by 2,400 in my...
Planted question nominee of the week is this dude. Sorry, this one's passed me by. There are 600 of them. I'll do my best to keep up with everybody, but this Labour backbencher here, sorry, believe probably got in for the first time in 24. Any clues? Let us know. Could this be a case of that's my MP? Let us know if your MP gets a question in the chat. Roger Stilgo. Thanks, Davinia. Roger Stilgo.
Constituency, ambulance waits down and prescription charges frozen would be put at risk, could be put at risk by Reform UK, as confirmed at the weekend, when the last but one defector, the Honourable Member for Romford, when asked about a private health insurance system, said, "I don't object to that."
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, he's right. Waiting lists are down 3,200 in his local area, and he's right to highlight the progress with our plan to get the NHS back on its feet. Thanks to this Labour government decisions, waiting lists have fallen by over 300,000 since the election.
God, I can't stand planted questions, I really can't. It's a total waste of parliamentary time, if you ask me. It's something that the Speaker should clamp down on. Just pointing out a couple of things in the chat. Just going back to the bonds and things. Shouty bloke. Across the globe, people are selling US bonds and debt treasuries because of Trump. Yeah, I heard about that. It sounds like a very strange thing, doesn't it? Selling debt. But that is something that you can do. You can also bet against things on the stock market, can't you? In short selling and things like that. But late stage imperial decline is real. The dollar is dying. Any UK bond is tied to the dollar. Good point there, Shouty bloke. Don't diss people. He is stuck on caps. Actually, speaking of which, I think you'll appreciate the interim comedy clip that'll be coming up after PMQ's Shouty bloke. Perhaps tongue-in-cheek style, but with regards to being stuck on capital letters. Thanks for joining us on stream.
And we delivered 5.2 million extra appointments, slashed ambulance response times, and recruited 3,000 more GPs. Meanwhile, the member for Romford confirmed at the weekend that Reform would support privatising the National Health Service. Labour will never let it happen. Trusted with our National Health Service.
Mr. Speaker, this week marks 2 years from the attempted great deception of the former government and the DUP that the Irish Sea border was gone. No checks, no paperwork was the strapline. And yet within the first few months of this new year alone, we've had imposed a veterinary medicine border, and we've had a ban on new GB cars being sold in Northern Ireland. And now the EU says that from July it plans to impose a €3 charge on small parcels coming into Northern Ireland. What sort of government allows a foreign power to impose a tax on parcels coming into its own territory?
That would be one that isn't in the European Union, as opposed to the Republic of Ireland, which still currently is. Hope you've been keeping up with current affairs, Mr. at the back there.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I looked at this specifically when I was Foreign Secretary. We've provided a wide range of guidance and support to businesses. We've not seen evidence of significant disruption to the flow of parcels. However, of course, HMRC stands ready to provide support wherever businesses have difficulties.
Alex Boriscup.
Mr. Speaker. When the Prime Minister recently visited my constituency of Cardiff West in Ely to launch the UK child poverty strategy, I took...
He was completely wasting his time because nobody in Wales wants to know about Labour anymore.
The opportunity to discuss with him that much needed Pride in Place funding that we want in Ely and Caira. My constituents are telling me they want it in important things such as a youth zone and in recreational sports activities. So will my right honourable friend agree to meet with me to discuss securing this vital funding for my constituents in Ely and Caira?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, of course I'll ensure that my honourable friend gets the meeting with the appropriate minister.
You kiss my arse, you get the money. Let's do the next one and move on.
Look at the difference that Labour is making in Wales. NHS waiting lists have fallen 6 months in a row thanks to the largest ever devolution settlement. 445 million into Welsh Rail, new offshore wind projects, AI growth zones, and the UK's small modular reactor in
AI growth zones? You've not been keeping up either, Lammy. But AI's a bubble. There's a lot more invested in it than can be returned with profit. Don't want to go into the intricacies of it, but it's not a good investment, basically. Wow, yeah, and you want to pour more into it. I don't know. What can you say? So many eggs in so many baskets with so many holes.
That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Benjamin Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Met Office reports that...
I can't believe it's still 0-0 unless any have passed us by. I've been listening out myself, but it's still 0-0 apparently.
Climate change is driving wetter winters.
It is.
Yet the US withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement yesterday on the same day that much of the West Country disappeared under flood water. My part of Devon is submerged and needs better flood defences. Would the Deputy Prime Minister like to invite his US counterpart on a fishing trip to the southwest?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I'll get a licence if I do, but
I can't believe that the United States pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement is just now proceeded into a joke at the end of the question, and now what's going to be a bit of a jokey back and forth response from Labby. That's a very serious thing where climate change is concerned. I don't know if the guy asking the question wanted it to come across that way, but it looks as though he's not taking it seriously, and it's going to look as though Lammy's not taking it seriously either. Rachel Reeves as well, having a good laugh about it. But is he going to have a go at Trump? He also wants out of World Health Organization. Pretty much everything. Trying to give the impression of standing alone whilst having to steal from foreign nations at the same time.
my sympathies are with his constituents affected by the recent floods. We're investing a record £10.5 billion into flood defences to protect 890,000 homes. The flood defences are inherited, of course, from the party opposite, which was shameful. But we've committed to net zero and the Paris Agreement. It's good for lowering bills, good for jobs and investment in the UK.
Elsie Blundell.
What'll happen is the way that Labour wants it to go is still extracting fossil fuels, but you sell them to another country who burn them. Therefore, in terms of carbon credits, which is what this net zero thing is all about, it's carbon credits. the onus is on the other country. And even though, yeah, you might have dug up the fossil fuels and or refined them, whatever it is, you sell them on. That's the way Labour wants to go. That's the way the Tories wanted to go as well. Check out Professor Kevin Anderson if you want to know more about net zero. It's not a scam in the sense that Reform would tell you it is, in the sense that climate change is a hoax or any of that drivel, but just in the sort of accountancy sense of things. I don't want to get too complicated because I can go off on tangents where climate change is concerned.
Borough, the social housing waiting list exceeds 7,000 live applications. Council housing offers my constituents the safety and security that they deserve. What further steps can the government take to speed up the delivery of the social and affordable homes programme and build the high-quality social housing my constituents deserve?
Prime Minister.
She's set you
She's
up.
Absolutely right. We believe in council housing on this side of the House. We're investing £39 billion to deliver the biggest boost to social and affordable housing in a generation, and that will deliver 300,000 social and affordable homes with at least a 60% rate, and will bring forward legislation to strengthen councils' ability to buy back homes sold under the Right to Buy scheme.
The Scottish press is full of stories about the plot by Scottish Labour MPs to bring down the Prime Minister. One Scottish Labour MP said he's terrible. Another Scottish Labour MP said the handling of the budget had been incompetent. And yet another Scottish Labour...
Yeah, there would have been a lot of delivers if Postman Twat was up this evening, but unfortunately not for him.
MP predicted that Scottish Labour would be slaughtered in May's election. They're not wrong, are they, Deputy Prime Minister?
Deputy Prime Minister.
The people of Scotland have a big decision later on this year. Certainly not to vote Conservative, to get rid of SNP and vote Labour. And I and my colleagues will be campaigning every single day to bring that about.
No, they're very threatened. It's an absolute certainty that the SNP are going to get a majority. They know it, and that's why they continue to openly attack them in Parliament. It's pretty desperate, really. They can't sort of outdo them on policy, so they have to do the sort of mudslinging thing. See it every week. It's the same with the Greens now as well, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the UK's first borough sanctuary, Lewisham has a proud history of welcoming people fleeing conflict, persecution and instability. Our council works closely with support organisations to help those people integrate and contribute to our community. So how will the Deputy Prime Minister ensure that proposed reforms to the asylum system support rather than undermine the positive outcomes already being achieved in boroughs like mine?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I'm grateful to my honourable friend for raising this issue. Britain has always been a fair, tolerant and compassionate country that has offered safe haven to those fleeing peril, and this government will always defend those values. We're introducing the largest overhaul of asylum policy in modern times to restore...
Sorry, I thought stop the gangs was the clarion call, the echoing of the you know, all of the immigration tropes that have been coming from Reform. That doesn't exactly reek of compassion, does it, Mr. Lemmy?
Control, contribution and fairness. That includes creating new, capped, safe and legal routes for refugees. Asylum claims are falling across Europe, but in Britain they are rising. So we must make it less attractive for those who are coming here illegally to come to Britain and easier to remove them, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Mr. Speaker, 6 in 10 families say their pay is going backwards, with the lowest earners...
Of course, one of the genius solutions to all of this so far was digital ID cards, wasn't it? And that went down like a cup of cold sick.
£73 a week worse off, and mid-learners are worse off too. So will the Deputy Prime Minister admit that his government, this government, has broken its promise to improve living standards?
Yeah. Deputy Prime Minister.
Real wages have risen nearly every single month since we came into office.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sergeant Matthew Telford, Trooper Robert Pearson and Guardsman James Jimmy Major, aged just 18, 3 heroic servicemen from Great Grimsby and Cleethorpes who made the ultimate sacrifice on their tours of Afghanistan. I want to put on record my condemnation of President Trump's plain wrong comments that so undermine the commitment of our brave British servicemen and women at home and abroad, which the Deputy Prime Minister has rightly recognised.
Damn right.
This government has launched the Valour system to ensure that our veteran support offer on housing, health, welfare and work is fit for purpose, fully backing our forces. That's in stark contrast to the leader of reform, who happily takes cash to champion the IRA.
Shame.
Someone shouting shame and where is he there with Farage, who's apparently absent this week. Just crack on now, 1 sec. Just check the chat's up to the chat's up to speed. There we go. Yeah, just bear with if you can hear me. We've got some issues on the broadcast software.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've been asked to reply.
Yeah, we're back now. Just had a problem with this video here. It's all good now. Let's just see where we're up to.
Launched the Valour system to ensure that our veterans support offer on housing, health, welfare and work is fit for purpose, fully backing our forces. That's in stark contrast to the leader of reform, who happily takes cash to champion the...
Welcome Raiders as well, yes, from Kevin Logan. Shout out to Kevin Logan. Comrie, great to see you. Solidarity with Wales. Welcome Raiders. We do have a poll as well for you'd like to see as the next Keith's Catchphrases contender here on the Brews at 10. So please do vote there. Thanks a lot for joining us. Solidarity with Kevin Logan. Shout out.
IRA.
Shame.
My local armed forces charities want to know if he can set out how urgent action is being taken to house homeless veterans by this government under Valour.
Deputy Prime Minister.
One of the greatest privileges of my life is visiting our servicemen and women who are stationed abroad. We're renewing the contract with our veterans, providing millions to eradicate veteran homelessness and investing £50 million into a nationwide network of support centres. I also want to take this opportunity to pay my respects to Private Jonathan Kitolongoda. He was the first British soldier killed by enemy action in Afghanistan on this day in 2004. He was just 23. The valour and heroism of those who have served our country to keep us safe must never be forgotten.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A month ago today, protests erupted across Iran. In response, the Iranian government launched a deadly crackdown. They fired indiscriminately on protesters and they've shut off internet access to hide what they were doing from the outside world.
Mossad infiltration stuff going on there as well. Come on, get real.
Asked the Conservative government if they would finally proscribe the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organisation. And just 2 weeks ago, she described the Iranian regime as a consistent threat to the UK's stability, security, freedom and our national interest. The world order that we thought we knew is being shaken up. The US is no longer able to show moral leadership to governments that kill their own citizens. Can this government step up and take the lead, and will they now proscribe the IRGC?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I utterly condemn the Iranian regime's brutal repression of peaceful protesters. It's a long-standing position under successive governments not to comment.
So they're going along with the
specific
US narrative.
Is being considered for
anyway,
conscription.
they make
we
excuses.
have long criticised Iran's authoritarian regime and taken.
Of course, this has been heightened today as well. Trump has essentially made another ultimatum to Iran.
Robust action to protect UK interests from Iranian state threats, and that includes over 220 sanctions on Iran, placing the entirety of the Iranian state on the enhanced tier of the Foreign Influence Registration Scheme. We're working at pace, of course, to explore what further measures can be taken to respond to these horrific...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
He didn't even get to finish his statement though before the next question was called. Did you notice that?
Mr. Speaker, violence is again escalating in northeast Syria, Rojava, with humanitarian crisis unfolding, and the city of Kobani under siege.
Oh, it's the "will put things right about the Middle East" round, is it? Of course, that's gone famously well in the past, hasn't it, for this country in backing up the United States of America? Have we learned the square root of absolutely naff all about where these kind of endeavours lead us, not only morally, but also economically as well? And now they want us to invest in war bonds. Really?
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
Yet again, the Kurdish communities who fought and helped defeat ISIS now feel abandoned by their Western allies.
Will the Deputy Prime Minister commit to working with our allies to hold the Syrian regime to the March 2025 agreement by securing protection for Kurdish civilians, pushing for a meaningful immediate ceasefire, opening humanitarian corridors into Kobani, and supporting constitutional recognition for Kurdish region?
Well, recent events in Syria have been deeply concerning. This is a significant moment for Syria's future, and we're using every diplomatic lever to urge all parties to stop the violence.
Lammy's in concerned mode now. He's very concerned, isn't he?
Can be accessed. The Foreign Secretary has highlighted the importance of protecting the rights of the Kurdish community to Syrian's Foreign Minister this week, and we have consistently advocated for an inclusive political transition. We remain committed to standing with the Syrian people as they seek to build a more stable, free and prosperous future.
Lee Anderson.
Why are you with this? Oh,
Thank you.
God.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was
Just before Leandertall, 30p Lee, throws in his 2 cents. There's going to be more from him after PMQs as well, briefly. But just quickly on that last point. Yeah, Lammy supports new Syrian beheaders, as you said in the chat, Graham. He's all about, of course, replacing the previous leader with someone affiliated with ISIS. Again, another example of how the United Kingdom and the United States looking over maps of the Middle East and pointing and saying, let's stop this here and put this person there and take that person out here. It just never works. It's always a disaster, but it's always just for profit, of course. Resources, the industrial military complex, grinding away.
reported on the TV yesterday.
Just one quick second to mentally prepare myself. Let's listen to what 30p Lee's going to come up with. He's just on track record. Bearing in mind, once again, this is a first time watch of PMQs for myself. It's always raising the issue of something that isn't happening, usually. Let's see what he's got in the bag this time.
People as they seek to build a more stable, free and prosperous future.
Lee Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was reported on the TV yesterday that the Labour backbenchers
by GB News
are revolting. Now that is a that is a matter of
the defection.
Opinion. You don't have a TV license. Unlike the Labour backbenchers and the Prime Minister. Unlike the Labour backbenchers and the Prime Minister.
It's a white tie on a white shirt. He looks as though he isn't wearing one. It just perfectly blends in. In fact, it looks as though he's almost wearing that microphone for a tie, but he hasn't put it on very well.
He doesn't have a TV license. I mean, keep going.
He doesn't have a... What was that? There was some heckling going on there. It's always something with this fucking guy, isn't there?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was reported on the TV yesterday that the Labour backbenchers
Oh, telly box.
Now that is a...
Oh, I tell thee, I saw it on telly. You won't believe what I saw on telly the other day. They're going on about revolts and all that.
That is a matter of opinion.
You don't have a TV license.
Unlike the Labour backbenchers and...
Someone's shouting, "You don't have a TV licence." Is that true? Is this some sort of protest against the Beeb or something that he's got going on? Possibly. Is that right? I don't know who was shouting that. Apparently Lee Anderson doesn't have a TV licence. Maybe he was round at Tice's house. Who knows?
The Prime Minister.
Andy Carter celebrating 19 months of standard membership. Awesome stuff. It's been great to have you on board. 19 months, that's a mega marathon, of course. Great to see you as always, brother.
TV license, please.
Unlike the Labour backbenchers and the Prime Minister...
He doesn't have a TV license. I mean, keep going. Where's your TV license?
Hi.
Well, order. I didn't want to have to get up.
One of us is going to sit down. It's not going to be me. Who was the person that was speaking out then?
Ooh, well, we saw a bit of this last week. He actually threw somebody out, didn't he? First time in 18 months he's managed to actually do something close to his actual described job. So he wants names. Let's see who's going to grass him up, or are they going to fess up themselves? Who was that?
If you haven't got the guts to admit to shouting somebody down, leave the chamber. Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unlike the Prime Minister of our country.
Well, the unidentified person this week has been told to leave the chamber. Going to the naughty step. Yeah. Is anyone going to walk out?
I've never been thrown out or barred from a pub, and after yesterday's disastrous announcement to save our pubs, there's no wonder it's cleared off to China. But I've got one question for the Deputy Prime Minister. Will he come with me to Ashfield to visit some pubs and speak to some landlords and explain to them why over 500 pubs have closed since this Labour government came into power, and why another 500 pubs will close in the next year? Come on, be a man.
Deputy Prime Minister.
You want him to go and walk into a pub? I'm not defending Lammy, but you want him to go and walk into a pub and go, "You are open," and they'll go, "Yes." Other pubs are closed. All right, what do you? Okay, you're open. The complaint is that your pub is open.
Mr. Speaker, I think I once campaigned with the honourable gentleman who was a member of the Labour Party. And it's been said of him that when he left, he enhanced the IQ of the Labour Party and the IQ of the party that he went to. I wondered what job.
Braverman's in the shot there. Looks like she'll be sitting next to 30p Lee. That's what an interesting one there. Defectors. Both, of course. Anderson's done the rounds, as Lammy's pointing out. That's a cheap shot. Braverman recently defecting herself, of course. We have 5 gifted memberships. If I'm rightly told in the chat, James Holmes deserves the plaudits. Thank you very much there for your support, James. Let's all please give a big up to James Holmes in the chat, everybody. Awesome stuff. Solidarity. We'll be hearing a little bit more from Braverman and Anderson, like I said, after PMQs.
The honourable member is pitching for on Reform's shadow cabinet. They've got Nadeem Zahawi to advise on tax, the member for Newark to open up the borders. Now they need Liz Truss to crash the economy.
Ian Byrne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I hope you get well soon. Lydia Jakeman is 19 years of age and has been given a devastating diagnosis of motor neurone disease. When she was told she has a very rare form of the disease that can be treated with a groundbreaking new drug called tofersen, her family were given hope. They have since discovered that while the drug has been made...
Byrne's a good guy. He's been at some of the same events that I've been to, actually. Really good public speaker as well.
...available to the NHS free of charge, a local trust has declined to deliver it. This afternoon, a family will be arriving at Downing Street, having walked from Southampton to highlight this injustice. Will the Deputy Prime Minister work with me, MPs from across the House, the Department of Health and Social Care Ministers, as well as NHS bosses, to deliver fair access to tofersen for all living with this rare form of motor neurone disease?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, can I say to my honourable friend that I'm sorry
Bit
to
of a planted question there.
About those that are waiting for this treatment, and of course I will ensure that he gets the appropriate meeting with the relevant minister.
James McMurdo.
It's one of those. Meeting.
GR Car is a business in Burnt Mills in my constituency in Basildon, with over half a century of experience in steel manufacturing and fabrication. It is exactly the kind of medium-sized business that builds this country and we should be championing. Following my visit to them last week, I was disturbed to find out that many of our contracts from our flagship deals in Teesside and in our nuclear programmes go offshore, such as the 7,000-tonne order for steel to China and the 200-plus kilometres of fabricated pipework to Germany. This is exactly the kind of investment that should be done in the UK. So how does sending offshore play into their growth plans?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, the honourable gentleman will remember that we stepped in to save British Steel and we committed up to £2.5 billion to rebuild the sector, and we'll publish a steel strategy setting out how we're going to achieve that.
2.5, it's not a tangibly huge amount for such a sector, because our country manufactures and produces exports so little in terms of actual physical products now. It's all about services and whatnot. But 2.5 billion, bit of a drop in the ocean in a almost 2 trillion capitalist economy, of course. That's the main problem.
Shortly, the British industry supercharger will also bring down energy costs for strategically important UK industries.
Patricia Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At a time when this government
It's
is
not very long
promoting
left.
the duty
We're
of
heading towards a
candour to
0-0
ensure
draw at
all
the
public
moment.
servants, including ministers, should have a legal duty to act with transparency and frankness, and when the Scottish Government has indicated it hopes that legislation will apply there too, does the Deputy Prime Minister support calls for the current First Minister, a former First Minister and a former Health Minister to appear before the inquiry into the deaths of adults and children as a result of contaminated water at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow? A scandal widely thought to be the worst since devolution began.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Better get used to contaminated water killing children as well, with the state of rivers and streams in this country, or lack of regulation where privatised water companies are concerned.
Well, my honourable friend is right to raise this serious matter. It's a scandal, one of the worst failures in modern Scottish public life. The SNP government must acknowledge the grave failures at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. When whistleblowers raised serious failings, SNP ministers sided with the Health Board and dismissed families who went through tragic circumstances. That should be condemned as wholly unacceptable, and there's no clear example of why Scotland needs change with Anna Sarwar.
Oh, what a change. Just almost at the 11th hour, he throws in a change. So the challenger, 1-0 up very late in the game. Dramatic finish, possibly. To this week's Keith's Catchphrases. It was getting a bit boring, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
The UK's nuclear deterrent has kept this country safe for over 5 decades, and as the Deputy Prime Minister will know, it's operationally independent, but it still relies on US defence supply chains. Given the shaking of traditional alliances, could the Deputy Prime Minister reassure the House and the country that the UK has sufficient stockpiles of the component parts of the D5 Trident II?
Just minutes of remaining for someone who's currently 4 for 4, but losing 1-0, the champion's security. Let's see what happens, people.
To cope with any change in the White House, whether positive or negative.
Deputy Prime Minister.
He raises an important issue, and it's why I was pleased to work with the Defence Secretary on the Strategic Defence Review, and that we're investing £270 billion over this Parliament into defence.
I think so.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know.
Well, just very quickly to what I just mentioned a moment ago, 270 billion for defence relative to steel production. There you go. Those are the comparisons.
I know that the Deputy Prime Minister takes a deep interest in Uganda. 2 weeks ago, there was a sham election. People prevented from voting. Government officials stuffed the ballot boxes. Now the military is pursuing Bobi Wine, the leader of the opposition, with deadly intent. I'm gravely concerned about Bobi, opposition activists and British citizens in Uganda. What can we do to safeguard those people and ensure that we don't see violence and bloodshed on the streets of Uganda?
Deputy Prime.
Well, I was very grateful to meet with Bobi Wine and him when I was Shadow Foreign Secretary. We call for peaceful and credible elections. This dispute must be resolved peacefully and legally. Opposition candidates must be able to campaign freely. and of course we will continue to make representations forcefully.
Bob Blackman, final question.
Thank you, Mr.
Last
Speaker. I
chance
join
to
the
dance
Prime
for
Minister in
security.
commemorating Holocaust Memorial Day. But unbelievably, Palestinian Pulse, an organisation, plan a protest outside Parliament today, entitled "Confront Power in Parliament: An Anti-Zionist Rally."
And what in the bloody hell do you think is wrong with that? Let's hear it.
Now, the Jewish population of our country.
Whoa, 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 whoa. The name again?
Must be able to campaign freely.
Memorial Day. But unbelievably, Palestinian Pulse, an organisation, plan a protest outside Parliament today, entitled "Confront Power in Parliament."
Confront power in Parliament.
An anti-Zionist rally.
An anti-Zionist rally. So this will be about Zionist lobbying, Israeli lobbying within Parliament, which is a thing. Labour Friends of Israel, for example. Labour, who are currently in government, and then to immediately step on to...
Now, the Jewish population of our country have had to put up with weekly protests in our town.
There is no mention of Jews in the title of the organisation. Idiot. Sick of this ridiculous conflation once more. Lammy's only going to go along with this. I think, obviously, there'd be a strong presence there against Labour Friends of Israel, so to which David Lammy is a part, of course. So, yeah, this is just going to be some It's just going to be some anti-Zionist bashing from both parties, and this false narrative. Shame on both of them.
Towns and cities since the 7th of October 2023. Now we have Jewish businesses and restaurants having protests outside.
And look around, people nodding. Oh, yeah, I don't know the difference between a country and a religion. I don't know the difference between Judaism and Zionism. I play stupid. Yeah.
Trying to close them down. The chants are anti-Semitic. The meaning...
No, they are not. No, they are not. Lindsay Hoyle, how are you going to come and address this? I doubt it. This ludicrous display. We'll see once again the Speaker's not going to stop it. The Deputy Prime Minister is going to agree with it. They're trying to rig the narrative, control the propaganda. It's just totally shameful. It shames this country so much. It's beyond words. It really is beyond words. Thank you very much for throwing up the Palestine flags in the chat. Just a bit of a mini tangent or rant about this. It did come across my mind as we were going through PMQs there, that Palestine hadn't been raised by anybody, but I really am not pleased with seeing it being raised in this fashion by somebody.
Behind them is anti-Semitic.
Well said, please.
They're using their right to protest that they have. It's gotten us so many of our civil liberties. They're calling out against a genocide. They're calling out against government control from outside forces, from outside bodies. We are talking about people who would happily put a foreign country in front of their own as long as there was enough money lying in the back pockets. A country that turns a blind eye to war crimes will not recognise or acknowledge them, because the very act of doing that would be an act of admittance that we are compliant, that we are party to this.
And we see where it leads.
It does make my piss boil if nobody has sort of twigged onto that fact so far. I'm sure that a lot of you feel exactly the same way, though. In chat, lies and smears are perfectly acceptable in Parliament. Yeah. No point of order being raised here, and these are serious, strong accusations. to use racism as a political football is an utterly shameful thing to do. It really is. And if anything in itself, ironically, Zionism is anti-Semitism and is responsible for anti-Semitism itself. That is legitimate anti-Semitism, not just criticism of a state for its abhorrent and illegal actions that have taken hundreds of thousands of lives in just the last couple of years. I mean, goodness me, people, what can we say? As this goes on, something's got to be done.
The massacre on Bondi Beach. What happened in the United States, and unbelievably, 2 of our Jewish population being murdered in Manchester. Now,
oh, don't you dare bring this tone up, you piece of fucking shit. Absolutely no. Not standing for that. Pathetic.
Pathetic!
This guy's pathetic. He really is.
Lord MacDonald's review is going to obviously look at this. But the Jewish population of this country do not have 2 years to wait before this hatred is extinguished. So will the Deputy Prime Minister take concrete steps to ensure that anti-Semitism is driven out of our country?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Big deep breath before we absorb David Lammy's equally appalling response to this. As obvious a setup as it is, it's not going to win me over. God, no. They do have no shame. Absolutely, comrade. Like you say.
Well, I'm very grateful to the Honourable Gentleman. He and I have worked cross-party on these issues over
why don't
many
you
years.
both go fuck yourselves?
Particularly as I represent Stamford Hill, one of the historic homes of the Jewish community, and he's quite right. The rising anti-Semitism that we see, the nature of some forms of protest is intolerable.
How dare you? How dare you both? This is an insult to intelligence. This is an insult to democratic protest. They'll go on to bemoan and criticise the fact that I'm not bigging up reform. Of course, they want to take us out of the European Convention on Human Rights, of course, and he will criticise that. But even I myself have used the European Convention on Human Rights as defence in my cases, for protest cases that I've been acquitted on as well. More double standards, more hypocrisy. But just shameful to see them both in utter agreement, whilst a lot of the House nod along as well, like zombies. And the reach of these lobbies goes very far, as you can see. And a lot of these people sold themselves out appallingly cheaply where things are concerned. We know about donations. Some of them are happy to do that for just £10,000, which is a sort of bribe for being a genocide denier, and all of that goes, I think, is pretty disgustingly cheap as well. Not that there is any amount that's justifiable, but it just makes it even worse.
Horrible and unacceptable. That is why the Home Secretary has set out the plans that she has, and I will continue to work with her closely to drive anti-Semitism out of this country.
That completes Deputy Prime. Questions?
Get this circus over with. That's it for that 1-0. 1-0 for change. Yeah, get these bunch of idiots off my screen immediately before I blow my top. That's it for Keith's catchphrases. He will return next week, I believe, when he gets back from the East.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole. Plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, God.
How about now? Is that better? Hear me now? You should be able to. I've got the, yeah. The levels are back up. Should be okay, I think, Andy. Looks like most of you can hear me again now. Before we move on, just make sure that you voted in the poll, people, because we need a new contender to a new champion for next week's Keith's Catchphrases. Because security was 4 for 4, but has now seen that streak come to an end. Who's in the lead so far? It's clear, but not with a very clear lead. 38% commitment in second with 31, and both Growth and Party on 15. So we'll have a quick comedy clip break, and then we'll move on to other matters. Is that okay with you people?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
It's just a short one. But Shouty Bloke, if you're still here, you'll get the reference that I made earlier on. And it's the latest from Exploding Heads. Once more, I will put links in the description after the stream. Check out Exploding Heads. This one's slightly different, not featuring Colin from Portsmouth this time. But a different kind of piece surrounding certain demographics of society being banned from using social media. Only not the one that's been going around, an alternative suggestion. So do enjoy this one from the Exploding Heads.
And do you think this demographic should be banned from using social media for their own safety?
Oh yes, I believe the over 65s should be protected. Their minds aren't developed enough to protect themselves from the dangers of social media.
The many years of lead poisoning taking their toll.
That's right, it's an inability to think critically. It's an inability to be shown a photo of pre-war Britain and not comment those were better times because there were no immigrants.
Yes, writing entirely in caps lock, telling Facebook they don't own their recipes.
Commenting shocking or a disgrace on a photo of Muslims that's clearly AI.
Sending a woman who DMs you your entire life savings.
Yeah, well, we've all done that.
Yeah, but it won't be easy to ban this demographic. After all, most of them have printed off the entire internet and put it in a filing cabinet.
Well, that's why we start small and ban the apps and platforms that they won't use or can't spell, like TikTok. And then we save the bigger platforms until last, like Facebook and the Daily Mail comments section.
But how do we revoke their access? Their passwords are stuck to the screen on a post-it note. It's all but impenetrable.
It's a case of re-education. It's a case of reminding them that there's a world away from the internet. Go outside, touch some grass, for goodness sake.
Even grass in London.
Exactly, yes. It's reminding them that London isn't dangerous just because it has a mayor with brown skin, and teaching them that putting "Happy birthday, Linda, have you put on a bit of weight" is not an appropriate comment to put on someone's engagement photo.
You do realise that this would mean a lot of politicians and world leaders would be banned from social media?
Yes.
It sounds like a brilliant plan. Thank you, Minister.
But in the days afterwards, as various
Oh, that one's coming up later. Exploding heads there. Great stuff. Go and subscribe, etc. Jonathan Pye come later. A few more matters to get through first though, people. And we do often check out a poll or two after PMQs, and yeah, this week we're going to do that, but also tied into, of course, recent political news story here in the UK, the thrilling Gorton and Denton by-election, which is happening at the moment, and it's a hot seat here on the channel. It's the first hot seat by-election of 2026. So what's the latest? I've got a couple of polls to look at that are slightly varied, because I do want to talk about polls in general a little bit as well. So Gorton in Denton, which is a Manchester seat. It's currently apparently a 3-horse race between incumbents Labour, Reform and the Greens, but the Greens are currently, depending on where you look, the favourites, but there are others that also think Reform are going to grab this one from Labour. This seat, of course, follows the Andy Burnham debacle, the NEC, Labour NEC refusing to select him for the seat. Let's take a look at the first poll, which comes from Find Out Now. You can see that gives Reform 30%, which would hand them the seat in front of 3% in front of Labour on 27, with the Greens on just 17%, according to this poll. But I should just point out, people, it is bing Find Out Now poll, and also a very low sample size as well. 143 people that were asked over 2 days. So they asked about 70 people a day, which isn't a massive sample size. Just a point, and as well, Find Out Now have also been pretty sort of dramatic how they've reported Reform's lead in general election polling. They're the ones who had them on, you know, almost 400 seats or whatever it was, and that one that had Labour with just was 11 seats in a similar poll. So you do have to take this one with a massive pinch of salt, I think, people, based on that sample size, the fact that it's Find Out Now. Huge pinch of salt. Don't damage your livers with all that salt, people. I do have another poll. I think I just need to quickly upload this one, actually. Yeah, one moment. I don't have a source for this one, actually, but well, obviously I have a source because I'm going to share it with you now, but they are unnamed, is what I meant to say. But it does spell a particularly different narrative. Let's see what's happening. Just hopefully. There we go. It certainly went in there with a bang. So this one has the Greens winning the seat. You can see there with a 17.7% gain, putting them on almost 31% of the votes. Pretty firm, solid increase. So just by 0.7%, pipping Labour to the seat for this one. This one has Reform on 27.2. So again, not too wide of a gap between the Greens and Reform, as the other find out now. So that's changed from 2024 general election, of course. So yeah, what are your thoughts about those two polls? I would say that this one, even though I'm biased, I'm hoping the Greens win this one. Perhaps your party have officially endorsed the Green candidate in this constituency as well. But it would be great to see the Green Party get the first Manchester seat in, what will that be, about 4 weeks' time? Possibly the last week of February, maybe the first week of March, who knows. So some pretty big changes going on, and this is pretty much a litmus test, yeah. Quite a good indicator, so there's a lot riding on this one. For all three parties, because this has been a Labour stronghold for quite some time as well. And whoever Labour do put up is going to have a hard time on the doorsteps explaining the whole Andy Burnham thing as well. That's got to be a factor. You can't ignore that one. So we'll quickly move on because we've got a lot to get through. That's a couple of polls where Gorton and Denton are concerned. Just a quick reminder for the general election, there are a few hot seats lingering around as well. I'll just very quickly show you those. All of these could potentially go Green as well, but including some pretty big names. So Hackney North don't know until we got Diane Abbott, Labour. Islington North, Jeremy Corbyn, it's rumoured. His seat. Yes, literally. It's kind of strange. Your party. Angela Rayner of Ashton-under-Lyne, of course. And Keith's seat itself in Holborn and St Pancras. The next scheduled election. Quite a way away, though. We're just back to Gorton and Denton. Polanski was down there. We also saw him clubbing last weekend as well, didn't we? That was in our most recent content on the video as well. Do check that out. So yeah, in a bar he used to work in apparently, to a baying crowd, but he was in Gorton and Denton itself. Earlier in the week, earlier in the week even. Put my teeth in. I don't wear false teeth, it's just a joke. Let's see what he had to say.
We have a party that wants to lick the boots of Donald Trump. And then we have our party that wants to protect people in this country and make sure we have a livable future. And then we have a party that wants the politics of hate and division. And we have our party, a party of hope, a party of community, with tangible plans to make a change. And what are those plans? To lower people's bills, to make sure our water companies are nationalised by stopping shareholder profits. It's outrageous that water companies can pump sewage into our waters and charge us extra for the privilege. We're the party that wants to defend the National Health Service. And we're the party that when we look around the world, we know that our government is complicit, in fact active participants, in the selling of arms to Israel and the sharing of intelligence, and it is time to end the genocide.
And that's more like it than that trash that we heard in the House of Commons before about the protesters as well. Really good stuff from Zach Polanski, who is a fan of this channel, by the way. Just throw that one in there. Well said, Zach. He's still on the attack. I said we'd briefly be seeing more from Lee Anderson, which we will do now very quickly, just where Gorton and Denton is concerned. He has previous reputation for thinking that he was campaigning there, but he was in fact in the wrong constituency during this photo shoot for reform. 30p Lee, the Neanderthal there, that's the kind of quality candidates that reform are putting out. A Braverman as well recently defected. Let's just remind ourselves, if you've not seen this yet, about her opinion on by-elections, which is somewhat contradictory, as you'll see now if you've not seen the little press conference from after she turned tail and left the Tories.
I believe in by-elections, definitely. And if I were
she does, yes,
leaving the Labour Party to go to the Conservatives or government to go to opposition, I think there's a very strong case there for a by-election. But
only in those circumstances, Scott. You believe in them. You really believe in them as a democratic tool, if you like. But then, asterisks with a huge footnote, and I'm not a hypocrite for saying that there shouldn't be a by-election after I've moved to another party.
you heard, I spent the last general election apologising for being a Conservative. And I believe that I won that seat despite the Conservative rosette, not because of it. A lot of polling said that I was going to lose that seat. I put out leaflets saying that we needed to leave the ECHR, which was not my party policy at the time. And the reality is that now that I'm a Reform UK MP, the people of Fareham Waterlooville will have a more authentic...
Celebrating the fact that she wanted to leave the European Convention on Human Rights, and in part of this apparent defence, which didn't go very well. Also as well, the stipulations that she made there, it's almost as though she thinks that she's unique, or it's exclusive, that in leaving the party and moving to another party, she somewhat has a gripe with the party that she just left. Apparently everybody else so far in history has just woken up one morning, maybe flipped a coin even, to decide if they were going to defect, but made it very spontaneously. Again, with the me that she puts into this as well. Yeah, that's pretty much why people defect, is that they have complaints about the people who they previously stood for. But to just shift your representation when you're supposed to represent your constituents under a party's manifesto is inexcusable, and every by-election should really force a by-election. There is a petition now to try and get that raised in Parliament.
Member of Parliament who can speak in alignment with her party much more freely and much more authentic.
Trying to turn it into just a self-promotion statement. That's the long and short of that one. Quite a scene. At least, as far as I'm aware, she was there when she was announced, as opposed to the other recent defected generic. see, do we have any thoughts about that in the chat? Yeah, I can see some really good points in there. If the Greens win, it could flip the rest. Yeah, it could open the floodgates. Really, not that Zach Polanski isn't on the rise as it is. This will, I think, yeah, a Green win. That is in Gorton and Denton. See that turn into a whitewater rapid. I don't know what comparison to make, but could be absolutely huge. Andy, yeah, it will convince people that they are serious. Even if they come a close second, it will certainly be close. I'm hoping the Greens do win this, but even I know that if they win, it will be by perhaps a short head or a nose. It won't be a walk, whoever wins it. But I do seriously think it's down to Greens and Reform. For reasons previously stated, I don't seriously think that Labour have a chance of holding it now. But we'll have to put the lid on that topic for now as the hour grows late. Goodness. Do stick with us though on the Brews at 10. We're going to move over to the States now with some American affairs, and again something that happens so often now that it has unfortunately warranted its own unique feature. So we're going to step into that now with another chapter in this increasingly epic story. Yes, a song of ICE and fire as we take another look at the latest ice capades. New intro tag there, by the way. So first up we have Greg Bavino and this please stop calling us out statement that he made. Land of the free, indeed. Free speech, and so on and so forth. But apparently if you're rendering United States citizens, you're not allowed to call that kidnapping. If they're killing US citizens, they're not allowed to be called murderers. He really doesn't like that. So let's go over, check out a couple of clips from the One-Third Reich, Greg Bavino, helium addict, as I'm led to believe as well.
Please don't call us kidnappers.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when you choose, when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also.
What consequences is he talking about, people? What do you think? Consequences? Or are you just going to start attacking more protesters. I've got a clip coming up in a minute, but there's been plenty of that as well. What consequences? Since he made this statement, and the next one I'm going to show you has actually been taken out of the equation, been moved away from Minneapolis by Trump, who even he apparently can't defend ICE's actions or Bovino's responses as well. So he's trying to, well, in his words, de-escalate things in Minneapolis, but that's an admission of escalation. Total fascist crap from Bovino. Let's hear some more of it. But even the mainstream media and MAGA heads themselves are calling him out. This is beyond the pale for even them.
There's no evidence that he was perpetrating violence. And there's no evidence, unless you have it, and we'd love to see it if there is, that he was intending to massacre law enforcement, other than the fact that he was there and he had a gun lawfully.
He meant to be there beforehand. Again, Dana, he came there beforehand.
How do you know that?
For a reason.
How do you know that?
Because he was there.
But
He went there to film ICE. Yeah, pretty much. And that is what he was doing. He wasn't there to attack anybody. This is all. They've tried to make some very spurious, tenuous links to violent groups and everything, but no, the man was a saint, and they couldn't be picking a worse man to try and ruin the reputation of an intensive care unit nurse who was trying to prevent a woman from being attacked when he was killed himself, and they try and throw his name to the ground and drag it through the mud. Shameless.
What he was doing was filming and documenting it, which is legal. He was carrying a gun, which in Minneapolis
I didn't
is
say
legal.
it wasn't. And I didn't say it wasn't legal.
So then what did he do that was illegal?
Assault federal law enforcement when he does that. That's an active law enforcement crime scene.
Where do you see in the video that he was
decided
assaulting?
to enter into?
Where do you see in the video that he was assaulting law enforcement? Because from everything we have seen, law enforcement was assaulting him when he was there trying to help another individual.
Dana, law enforcement doesn't assault anyone. Follow directions of law enforcement. Follow directions of...
Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, call an ambulance. My sides are splitting open here. Law enforcement doesn't attack anyone. Doesn't shoot them repeatedly and then say, "Fuck you, bitch," in Renee Good's case.
Directions of law enforcement. Follow directions of law enforcement in an active crime scene.
It wasn't an active crime scene. You could tell when things are active crime scenes because the tapes off or whatever is crime scenes. It's total bullshit. But even the likes of Fox News are calling this out now. Don't know if you saw this this one. It's a very little snippet. But yeah, the flag wavers of the right themselves, Fox News, are even openly aware of what's happening.
We certainly should not be labeling him as being a domestic terrorist who is going to execute cops. There's no evidence to support that.
None. Not a shred. Not one piece of credible evidence other than bullshit propaganda coming out from Bovino's mouth at a lectern. And even this prick knows.
Listen, I live in Minnesota. I voted for Trump. I'm a conservative. And for somebody to say like, oh, hey, stop spreading bullshit. He had a gun. It's our Second Amendment right. We have the right to bear arms. Okay? You have 8 ICE agents attacking you. Aren't you in fear for your life? You're not going to fucking pull a gun? And then you have people defending this? ICE again?
Yeah, he done gun fucked up now with attacking their precious Second Amendment rights to bear arms. I'm almost 100% certain, if Kirk was still around, he'd have already been flooding the internet with videos about that statement. Yeah, because essentially Trump has said he shouldn't have had a gun. He did have a license to carry one in Minnesota under state law. He was perfectly entitled to have it. He never even reached for it. never even reached for it before he was killed. So this is really upset a lot of that element. They're struggling to find friends at the moment.
It's at my front doorstep. It's at every Minnesotan's front doorstep. We're protesting by the tens of thousands. You think tens of thousands, even maybe closer to 100,000 Minnesotans are wrong? It's not about immigration anymore. They're not shooting Mexicans. They're shooting white people, black people. They're shooting everybody. They're using children to bait their parents to come out of the house and arrest them. Wake the fuck up. Martial law is like right on the doorstep. Stop defending these motherfuckers.
Yes, they know. They know, you know. And everybody, yeah, everybody, they're just so unhinged and indiscriminate at the moment. It doesn't matter if you are an immigrant. It doesn't matter if you're a legal immigrant, a US citizen, a protester, whoever it is, they'll go for you. Just a very quick warning for anybody of a sensitive disposition. You might want to just look away for a moment or two, or skip past this part if you're watching back later. It's not graphic, there's no blood or anything like that, but some pretty harrowing scenes from one of the protests where somebody almost lost their hand. The hand was severely damaged. There's the clip. So yeah, just very, I'm going to play it now for anybody of a certain disposition. Fair warning, I think, where that's concerned. It's only very brief though, about 20 seconds, the clip. I'll only play it the once. It's my understanding that the woman was hit by a gas canister, which is how she got the injury.
Medic. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, nothing close up or graphic like I said, but you can see that poor lady clearly in agony, one of the latest victims of ICE. And I guess, yeah, I'm going to finish off this segment with this tribute to Alex Pretty, the aforementioned ICU nurse who was perforated by ICE, shot 10 times, and some of his colleagues in the nursing community made this tribute to him, which I think is really good. So I'm going to end on a slightly somber note with this topic, and then we'll move on. Yeah, rest in peace, Alex. They should be charged with murder, absolutely. Davinia. No warrants. I believe the latest news is that 2 of them been put on leave, which is a very broad term, to be honest. If they're still being paid, for example. But there were a good, what, 5-6 officers at least involved in that one. 2 of them now on leave. Well, speaking of leave, that is where we will leave this particular episode of A Song of Ice and Fire. Moving on now. But we're still sticking on the subject of right-wing arseholes. Did you see this one? From Andrew Tate, who apparently has got some designs on British democracy. But this one, yet again, like his effort to take a foray into the world of boxing, has blown back in his face. First of all, let's check out this ridiculous post that he made. Have you seen this crap? Seriously.
And unless we grow a backbone and start laying down the line and making it clear, if you don't love England, you shouldn't be there. If you don't love America, you shouldn't be there. You could be any skin color, you can be any religion, but you better love this place. You better love the place you're in. You want to come to our country, run your mouth, intend on robbing everybody you can, disrespect us, disrespect the natives, disrespect the law.
Us. Disrespect us. So this this patriot, this American, is going to come here. It's us now, is it? And I'll just skip back a moment there. There was something notable in his pronunciation with a certain word.
Your mouth, intend on robbing everybody you can, disrespect us, disrespect the natives, disrespect the law enforcement.
Natives. No hard T in there.
Disrespect us, disrespect the natives, disrespect the law enforcement, and then we're going to sit there as conservatives like dumbasses and go, oh, well, it's free speech. These people will kill you. We need to lay lines. There has to be lines in the sand, because otherwise we are going to lose. I tell you, when I'm in charge of Great Britain, anybody who's disrespecting our flag, anybody is instantly and permanently deported.
Oh, God. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But it's ridiculous. Yeah, really, anyone who's disrespecting our flag will be immediately deported, yada, 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 something that someone's taking over, and you're going to come here and stop it. No. It's real. This is a genuine post, and we know it is because the next part of this is the community note, which soon appeared, because we did make a comment on that post. I think it looks like it was on Twitter, which is currently known as Twitter. The community note states, despite his best efforts, Andrew Tate does not reside in Britain and cannot even return without facing multiple charges of rape, actual bodily harm and human trafficking. So much for those ambitions. Is this note helpful? Yes, it is. Thank you very much indeed for that note, which is a strange thing to say to Twitter. But yeah, that one didn't get off the ground, did it? What a prick. Okay, right, let's get this moron off my screen. Very quick update on the poll, and then we'll have the final comedy clip of the stream. We currently have a draw or a tie. it's level between clear and commitment, both on 38%, with growth and party both on 12% each. Okay. We'll see if there is a decider. If there isn't, then on the next stream I guess we'll narrow it down to 2, if that's the way it goes. Or could somebody just pip it late at the end, like Change did at PMQs? So yes, there was a slight spoiler earlier, but this is the latest from Jonathan Pye, who is a character, just to point out again. I'll put links to all the comedy clips in the description after the stream's finished. Hope you enjoy this slice of pie concerning Trump.
In the days afterwards, as various videos of the shooting circulated online, it became clear that the White House was out of step with not just public opinion, but with what Americans could see with their own eyes. I will never pretend to understand America's relationship with guns. You know, 1 in 3 adults owns a gun. Most Americans are against strict gun control. Literally millions of them are legally walking around carrying guns. Gun crime is therefore inevitable, right? Normal. We're used to watching spotty teenagers shooting up American classrooms. It's just normal, right? It's normal because it's inevitable. The president getting shot at, Charlie Kirk. Right, horrendous acts of domestic terrorism, but gun violence in America is normal, inevitable. And as soon as the next US citizen is gunned down by an ICE or border control officer, which is inevitable, this too will have become normal. A US citizen who the footage clearly shows was defending a woman who'd been violently pushed over, a man who was legally carrying a gun, who didn't go for his gun, was disarmed of his gun and then shot 10 times by presumably more than one ICE agent. The White House immediately claimed, without evidence, i.e. it lied, that the still warm corpse was a would-be assassin who was trying to murder federal agents. This ICU doctor was part of a radical far-left splinter cell, a terrorist, albeit a terrorist whose court records show he has no criminal record beyond traffic tickets. Apparently ICE is here to keep you safe, as long as you're cool with any non-white people in your community being stopped and searched by a gang of meatheads who have never used a safety catch or a word over 2 syllables in their life. Dare to protest or indeed express your anger at that policy, you might very well be executed in the street. That is White House policy, to use violence and intimidation against its own people and then lie about it. One MAGA-friendly assistant US attorney went on to claim that if you approach law enforcement whilst carrying a gun, there's a high likelihood that they will be legally justified in shooting you. Wow! When did that happen? This must be news to the 16 million or so law-abiding adult gun owners in the US, that if they even approach law enforcement whilst legally carrying a gun, there is a high likelihood of them legally shooting you. And not only that, but after you've been blown to pieces, the President of the United States will then loudly exclaim that the men responsible for your are phenomenal. He'll proclaim in block capitals, "Let our ICE patriots do their job seemingly to shoot in the face anyone who might casually tell them to fuck off in the street." Not very respectful, sure, but not entirely warranting of being pepper sprayed and then shot 10 times. 10 times after being disarmed. 10 times. Does that not in itself suggest perhaps a lack of control, discipline, morality? but above all, basic training. Surely any trained law enforcement officer or serving military personnel in America, or in fact any human being with working eyes, no matter their politics, sees these killings and knows that these guys are fucking amateurs. Dangerous, hot-headed amateurs, highly untrained globules of testosterone plonked on the streets of America by the capricious toad in the Oval Office who's running the show. A mob, a militia, whatever you want to call it, able and clearly willing to shoot protesters multiple times at point-blank range if they get a bit mouthy, or aren't showing due deference to the ice-branded balaclava, or are dangerously flailing their arms around because you've just emptied a pint of pepper spray into their eyeballs. Terrifying stuff, but also inevitable. Normal. Well, the White House hasn't exactly U-turned, more of gently pivoted, with all the blame squarely looking.
Jonathan Pye there, played by Tom Walker, currently on tour, as you saw, the really funny live tour as well. Yeah, so do check out the website if you want to get some tickets. Go and subscribe as well. Always happy to share that quality content. Always happy to give a shout out to the members on the channel as well. 163 now. Thanks for your contributions on tonight's stream. So I will update the membership list when we finish. If you're watching back later on, super thanks are open, and there's a Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of the stream as well. Do stick around as we get towards the end of this stream. We'll be raiding into this space, crossing the states, our friends stateside, so show some solidarity when we get over there. Andy, thank you very much for the gifted membership. That was on 164 now. Solidarity, my friend. Appreciate it as always. Can we give a big up to Andy Carter in the chat? Thanks again, members. Great to have you on board.
Socialists.
Oh my God.
As for where this channel's concerned, we'll be back with more streams later in the week. Fret you not, people.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So do hit the notification bell, and then you won't miss out on any content. All that remains here is for me to thank you for joining me on tonight's stream. It's been great to see you all as always. Free Palestine, free Lebanon, free Sudan, free Yemen, power to the people. Free the Fulton 24, and don't let the bastards grind you down. We'll see you soon. Good night, everybody. Very quick before I sign off. The poll is over and it is a draw between Clear and Commitments, who will face off against one another on the next stream, so thanks for all your votes on the poll. That is definitely it now, apart from post credits and all of that stuff. Catch you later, people.